Hi, y'all. Hello. My name's Heather. I'm not a comedian. I don't want to disappoint you. I'm going to introduce you to someone that we all know and love. Now, someone named Will Smith. Anybody?
Really?
Yeah, really. Really. You can trust me. You can trust me. Who knows the best Will Smith song?
Summertime.
Summertime. Best movie?
Men in Black.
Men in Black. Come on. It would be really cool to talk to him tonight, right? Yeah. It's even cooler. We're going to talk to a lawyer who sues people who are mean to grandmas. Somebody who loves his mother so much. Come on. Y'all hate your moms? And someone who has jumped out of a helicopter, Marine. This is this man right here, Will Smith.
Y'all, we are here with the Will Smith. The Will Smith from Philly. Not Philly. Where are you from?
Saltinacucci.
Where's that?
I know. It's in North Georgia. I a lot of times just tell people I'm from Helen, Georgia, because I'm well aware that Saltinacucci sounds kind of risque.
A little risky. We're all about that here. So tell me, Will, what do you do for a living?
I'm an attorney. I represent people that are suing nursing homes because their family members died or got hurt or something like that.
Doing nursing. Is that a thing? Does that happen often?
Oh, all too often. Yeah, it's very common.
Okay, we're going to switch this whole conversation around. This ain't about Will Smith anymore. This is about suing nursing homes. That's fascinating. But that wasn't always on the table for you. You were a previous Marine, right?
Yeah, so I graduated high school in '96, went into the Marine Corps. When I got out of the Marine Corps, I didn't really have any civilian skills. My dad was working in a nursing home, so that's why I went in that direction.
Oh, okay. It's getting a juicy story, but let's stick with what's really important here is that Marines cuss. We know Marines cuss.
Yeah.
I don't know what cussing like a sailor, cussing like a Marine, I don't know, but here's the deal. Will Smith, this Will Smith,
He doesn't have to cuss in his raps.
he don't have no cussing in his rapping. And you know why? Because his grandmother, true story, don't read this book, it takes too long, said, Will, smart people, intelligent people don't cuss. So he took out all his cuss words. So, Will, you cusser?
I agree with him absolutely, and actually that was one of the reasons that I listened to him when I was a kid when he came out with My Parents Just Don't Understand that album, because there wasn't a lot of there were no cuss words, so my parents didn't care that I listened to it. So it was one of my first introductions to rap.
Can you share how'd that song go?
The only part I remember is parents went away on a week's vacation and they left the keys to the brand new Porsche. Should I drive? Of course.
Y'all heard it here. Y'all heard it. So you said that you listened to Will growing up. One of the things I think was interesting about him and his life, and you shared briefly with me, is he was really close to his mom. She was a hardcore caregiver. He was very, very close with her, and you told me you were close to yours as well.
That's right, yeah. She and I lived together for about two years. Recently, I bought a house outside of Atlanta and moved her in with me because my dad had passed about 8 years ago. So we were always very close. She was, she was one of my best friends.
Was she excited that you wanted to be a lawyer? How did she feel about that?
My parents I was an only child for 10 years, and they were obnoxious about you could be anything. It was almost too much, because if I were 50 years old and I was like, Mom, I want to be an astronaut, she would be like, of course, you can be an astronaut at 50. So she was excited about anything that I did.
Oh, I gotta know about that. So why is that annoying? If you're like, Will, you can be anything, go after your dreams.
Because there's
Mom, stop.
Because there's no constructive criticism. There's no reality there. So I can't really trust what she says because she would just agree with everything. She's like, that's the best thing I've ever heard. You're amazing. I'm like, okay, well, you can't complain about too much positivity, I guess.
I'm just rethinking my whole parenting life because that's literally what I do to my kids every single day. You want to be a rabbit, you can be a rabbit. It's totally cool. Okay, so one of the things about Will is he's an insanely driven dude. It was perfection or nothing, whether he was rapping, acting, whatever. He's always had to be the best at everything. Where do you fall on that spectrum with your practice and your work? You're a previous Marine.
I would say that there's a similarity there in that, first of all, I know I'm biased, but I think a lot of people agree. The Marine Corps is the toughest unit, and they're the Marines. They're the best of the best. So I chose them. You know, they're highly competitive. They also make you work in teams. And then right after that, I immediately went to college. I knew what I wanted, immediately went to law school. I'd say we both do have a similar drive.
You did mention that you're not super competitive, though. You just said working in
Right.
teams. I mean, that's interesting when you think about being very driven, but also to not being competitive. Explain that.
I don't know what made me that way. I mean, I had little brothers when I was 10, so I was never in competition with them. I always felt like, you know, a second father. And I guess I work with people and try to do it as a team way instead of like, oh, I'm going to be better than you. I want to be the best, but I also want the people around me to be just as good, too.
Jumping out of airplanes. When Will, I think, turned 50.
If he jumped out of an airplane, he was probably like 20,000 feet or so in the air. So there's a huge difference.
Were you terrified?
No, not at all.
Not at all. You're going to jump out of a helicopter and you weren't scared?
No, I mean, when you're 18, 19, you're ready to do anything.
No, you're
I mean,
not. Men in Black, Pursuit of Happiness, which one's your jam? Do you like to go to more action stuff or do you like to go to more heartfelt in your gut?
Men in Black is always going to be a go-to for me. The first one's great. And that's the one I hear referenced most of the time. Like when I meet somebody and I'm like, hey, my name is Will Smith. It's usually, oh, I loved you in Men in Black. You know,
Do you
so-
punch them when they say that?
No. It's a great icebreaker. And people always remember me because they're like, I remember you, Will Smith. I'm like, that's me. It's either I loved you in Men in Black or it's you look different in person.
To wrap us up here, there are a whole bunch of aspiring entertainers and performers, people who are working their blessed booties off to get their art out there and make a living doing what they love. And I know, you know, you're in a different field, but I'm sure it's been a rough road getting to where you're at too, and the work ethic that it takes. And you have any words of wisdom for anyone who's early in their career, or maybe, I don't want to say necessarily earlier, maybe they've been doing it for a long ass time and they're not getting any traction. Any words of wisdom there?
You know, I hear the cliche a lot of times, like, just don't give up. But that's something that they taught us in the Marine Corps, too. It's like, look, you're going to make it as long as you don't give up. And I hear people say that, too, is following their dreams. You know, don't give up on your dreams. It is a cliche, but I really think it's true. If you don't give up, then you're going to make it. The people who don't make it just get to a point and they're like, I don't want to do this anymore. So don't give up.
When you're in that really hard point though and you want to, what do you do to get yourself out of that? What's the Marine mindset there?
We just start focusing outward. We don't think about ourselves. We don't think about pain. You just think about what you're doing and you focus outward and just keep putting one foot in front of the other. You know, that's all you have to do. It's all you can do.
Well, Will Smith, you are a cool dude. Thanks so much for jumping and doing this for us.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure.
Yes. Will Smith. We got him.